There are two types of Satisfactory players. Those with an organized inventory, and those who come back from exploration carrying 3 slugs, half a forest and something mildly radioactive. And judging from my experience with Satisfactory, I'm starting to think the first type is actually a myth. I was tired of manually sorting all of this, so I built a system. A fully automated recycling tower that judges my inventory for me. 1 container, 0 thinking. And it doesn't just clean your inventory, it prints tickets, it scales power, and it turns exploration trash into production. And honestly, every factory needs one. The idea is simple. You dump everything into 1 container, and the system sorts it automatically. Shinies like sphere and sloops immediately go to storage, along with the other unsinkable items. The rest goes in the sink. Nothing too fancy so far. But then, it gets smarter. Leaves and wood go to biofuel production. Slugs get turned into power shards, enemy remains go to DNA capsule processing, and finally join the rest of the items in the sink. No manual cleanup, just pure automation. It's production optimization disguised as trash disposal. What I really love about this version is how seamlessly it's integrated into my factory. It's woven directly into the layout, connected to my hypertube travel system, sitting right along a natural traffic path. I literally run past it every time I return from exploration, dump everything in, and keep moving. It feels like part of my factory. But I've been developing this system for many hours of gameplay, so it evolves in stages. It works beautifully, but visually, it's a little chaotic. But don't worry. Today, we're rebuilding it properly. A fully modular, blueprint-ready cube that fits into any factory layout. Compact, adaptable, and shareable. Just like good creative engineering should be. But here's the real question. How do we get from this messy setup to this beautiful marvel of engineering? Let's rebuild it from the ground up. One thing I've learned after hundreds of hours in this game, if a system isn't modular, it eventually becomes a problem. Priorities change during your game, your factory is going to evolve, so instead of building one perfect recycling setup, I built a system that scales vertically. That's long-term efficiency right there. Let's start with the first and most complicated floor. This ungodly weave of belts is the brain of the entire system. Everything enters here, everything gets judged here. 2 containers poke through the front wall, 1 for manual dumping and 1 for valuable storage. If it's useful, it survives. If not, it doesn't. Right away, a programmable splitter separates the obvious junk and sends it straight to the sink. Quick tickets, fast inventory cleanup. Then we filter out the valuables and unsinkables, spheres, sloops, equipment, and store them safely. Future me is forgetful, present me plans ahead. Next come biomass, leaves, wood, and mycelia. They get routed into a container first, because biomass processing is slow. The system should never stall just because I picked up too much grass. What's left at this point is an unfiltered mess of slugs and animal remains that we merge back with the solid biomass and send it upwards. Why merge it, you ask? Because this tower runs on a shared vertical backbone. A set of belts acts like a highway passing through every floor. Each module taps into that shared belt, pulls what it needs, processes it, and then merges everything back into the stream. Items can travel upwards to be processed, or downwards if they're just passing through. Every floor is a node. That's what makes it modular. That's the philosophy. But there's something else that could potentially clog your inventory. Something much worse. Radioactive items. Those are unsinkable, and I definitely don't want them sitting in storage glowing at me. So, instead, they get exported out the back into a truck station. From there, a tiny automated cart quietly transports them somewhere far away from my factory, out of sight, out of radiation range. Problem solved. Easy, right? Don't worry, this was the hardest floor. The following ones will be a breeze. This next one is actually extremely important. It converts likes and subscribes into new optimized builds using the overclock recipe. So if you like this video, you know what to do. Alright, back to business. The next floor is where this stops being just cleanup and you start turning a profit. Because if you're going to process animal remains anyway, you might as well do it in style. With somersloops installed, this tiny recycling system doesn't just clean your inventory, it generates tickets. And the numbers are ridiculous. We split the incoming belt into 2 streams. Slugs on one side and the remains of our fallen foes on the other. Both go into fully sloop constructors. And this is where things get a little ridiculous. A single somersloop doubles shard output, which doesn't sound insane. Until you process a pink slug, those will yield you 10 power shards. From 1 slug, that's huge. And DNA capsules are even better. Animal remains get turned into protein, protein gets turned into capsules. With sloops on both steps, 1 creature becomes 4 capsules. Early game, that's basically 1 ticket per capsule. So every exploration trip doesn't just clean your inventory, it generates a huge amount of tickets. Once you see the ticket counter move, it's hard to go back. Personally, I avoid processing slugs and remains until I have at least one somersloop to double the output, even if I have to do it manually. Now let's talk backup power. The biomass burner floor. This floor filters solid biofuel and feeds it into biomass burners. But why bother with that anyway? Well, two reasons. One, because biomass burners have a lower fuel priority, which means as long as your main grid is stable, they don't consume fuel. But the moment your production exceeds capacity, they kick in automatically. That makes them perfect as a backup generator. But you do have to keep an eye on them, there's no way of telling when they kick in remotely. And the second reason, to fuel my chainsaw. Those trees aren't gonna cut themselves. But a measly single floor of burners might not be enough for your factory's needs, so this system can actually use multiple stackable floors. And with that in mind, the biomass pipeline has some overflow logic to it. It ensures the following priority. It fills the bottom floor first, then feeds the rest upward. And if everything is full, it gets sent down to the sink. The setup so far works beautifully, but if you want to take it further, there's also liquid biofuel floor included in the blueprint. Personally, I don't use it here. The refineries break the cube's aesthetics and waste vertical space, but functionally it's very simple. Solid biofuel comes in, water connects from the side, liquid biofuel comes out. That's it. You can even stack it on top of the solid biofuel floor. Solids fill first, overflow feeds liquids, nothing stalls. It's the same philosophy as the entire tower. Waste becomes production, production becomes power. When finishing the build, don't forget about connecting the last two connections together. I've conveniently designed a ceiling blueprint that does just that, as well as close off the structure. This would have been good enough, but once you look at the system as a whole, there are a few design decisions that make it truly modular. Every floor follows the same rule. It connects to the shared backbone and handles its own processing internally, so each floor handles its own sorting. Throughput isn't the goal here, adaptability is. Inside the structure, there's a central access shaft. That's where all the electrical connections run, and it gives you room to inspect, tweak, or expand on the system however you like. When placed correctly, the floors auto-connect. No manual belt work, no guesswork. As long as it fits together, the system works, in any order. Just don't forget to cap it with a ceiling module. That closes the belt loop. And power between floors still needs to be connected manually inside the shaft. And yes, every floor has its own lighting control. Those color lights really add a certain flair to it. And finally, the most important feature, label everything. Not because the system needs it, but because good engineering should look cool too. Now, this system works. It's modular, it's compact, it's efficient. But is it pretty? Debatable. It's still just a box. If this thing is gonna sit in the middle of my factory consuming everything I throw at it, it might as well look the part. So I give you the Waste Allocation Load Lifter Massage 2B. In short, WALM. Okay, maybe not as catchy as its Earth counterpart, but still, look at those cute eyes. This setup is a must for me in any playthrough in some kind of shape. It's just too good to not have automated trash dispenser. Junk disappears, resources get refined, tickets accumulate, and all you did was drop everything into one container. So do you think the system can be improved with some additional floor types? Let me know what you think, and come back for more satisfactory tips.